ChickPicks. It's time for all the top picks and plays for WNBA Fantasy FanDuel DraftKings for Friday, July 31st, 2020. You got a 3-game slate here. I think we got some pretty decent DraftKings games. We got New York versus Atlanta, Atlanta. You got Indiana and Dallas, and Las Vegas and Phoenix. Of course, I guess first of all, the first game up is the most fantasy applicable. That's New York versus Atlanta, and I think that your girl Kennedy Carter. Well, actually, oh man, Courtney Williams is going to be available to play for the Atlanta Dream, and so that very well could might take some usage away from Kennedy Carter, but that's probably more Blake Dietrich, Shekinah Strickland, and Bentaisha Laney who are going to lose some usage there. I think Carter's role is pretty solid. I love her against Atlanta. Courtney Williams is not priced down at all, so there's no real deal on her. She's a little expensive. Kennedy Carter is valuable if she gets the usage that she usually does or has been getting the first couple of games. But with Courtney Williams back, we shall see. From a standpoint of the forwards on Atlanta, nothing. Well, actually, Monique Billings could have a big game here against the, how would you say, the weaker front court of New York. Who they have in this front court? Odom, Kylie Shook, Amanda Zahui is KIAH Stokes, I guess, is pretty formidable. But Monique Billings is very expensive, and there probably are a lot better places to go at $9,400. But she could have a really good score here. I guess she's relevant. I think Amanda Zahui going up against the worst rebounding team in the WNBA from last year, and they lost Jessica Breland, so Amanda Zahui is very applicable here. I like Billings. I like Zahui. I also like Stokes, KIAH Stokes, 7,300. That's probably the best price. I believe Stokes is the all-time blocks leader with New York, so I think she could have a good game here. She is a bit expensive at 7,300. I mean, it's a possibility. I'm not heavy on her, but it's something to consider in this front court. From a standpoint of the back court of New York, guards and everything like that, of course, Sabrina Ionescu against Atlanta is a juicy, extra juicy play. And also Lanisha Clarendon, she's a relevant play here against a team that kind of bleeds points here in general. So I like both of those girls. Courtney Williams probably should improve their defense and rebounding a bit, though. That's what I like from New York versus Atlanta. Moving on to Indiana and Dallas. My most relevant plays from this game would, as always, be Kelsey Mitchell, Tiffany Mitchell at guard for Indiana. Those are, as long as we don't have any Erica Wheeler, those are very relevant plays. Points per dollar, Tiffany Mitchell is going to be the better play. She's almost scored 30 points in all of her games. She scored 32 and 1 and 28.9. Oh no, excuse me. She scores 32 and 1 and 25.25 in the other. Tiffany Mitchell's had a strong start to the season. Stays about 40% shooting. Was 1 for 7 in that first game. She probably should be better than these other games. Tiffany Mitchell is the best point per dollar point guard in this side of the ball. Kelsey Mitchell is a close second. I don't know. I think Victoria Vivens, she looks like she's getting a little more usage here. She took 9 shots last game. I'm not considering her. I was just checking up on her. Erika Awumbwale, of course, is a usage monster. 8 for 18, 7 for 21. She has not yet really been able to really have a real solid, real consistent game yet. She's 10,500. I think exposure to her is always warranted. It's very expensive. If you're playing multiple lineups, I'd have her. If not, I guess you can fade her until she starts to hit that groove. We are very early in the season in this pandemic era. ALLISHA Gray is only $6,700. That's way too cheap for ALLISHA Gray. She's got 30-point upside. She's an excellent player always. I like playing her over. Well, not really. Ogunbowale gets most of the usage, but sometimes I like to pivot off the Ogunbowale deal and get to her. Is there any other guard plays that I'm kind of interested in? MORIAH Jefferson's 6,400. She's gonna be scoring some good points, but she's a tad bit too expensive for my taste on this slate. That's Dallas. So yeah, I can't get too much into her. Looking at the forwards, let's look at the Dallas forwards here. Tierra McCowan up against this weak front court of Dallas is a smash play. I think Satu Sabali has climbed up in price. Not as great a play as she has been on other slates. I'm not as intrigued. Isabel Harrison, she could do something. She could, but I don't know. My most intriguing play in the front court from this game is Tierra McCowan. I love her. I think she should really whip on Dallas in this game. Moving on to the next game, we got Las Vegas versus Phoenix. Angel Wilson is a bit expensive here. Angel McCoughtry, same thing. Derek Hamby, $9,200. Out of all these girls, I mean, Phoenix's front court, Brittney Griner struggles to kind of rebound at times. So I like Angel Wilson. I like McCoughtry best. I think she does the most out of everybody with Vegas. I really like McCoughtry. Well, I'm going to take some McCoughtry here. Brittney Griner, she can have a big game here. I mean, Brittney Griner is always relevant. It all depends on which Brittney Griner shows up, though. Is it going to be mean Brittney Griner? Is it going to be passive Brittney Griner? Is it going to be consistent or unstoppable Brittney Griner? Or inconsistent and frustrating Brittney Griner? So Griner is always a relevant play. And Dearica Hamby, I assume that you would say that she's relevant. I don't know if there'll be lots of steals and turnovers to get here. That's where she really makes a lot of her salary off. I mean, we saw last game, the game blew out. She had a terrible game. Kind of shooting, very inconsistent, but was able to rebound with garbage time and just tearing it up against the youngsters in second unit, because Dearica Hamby is a youngster herself and she's going to play garbage time minutes. That's what I like from the Las Vegas side and the Phoenix side from the standpoint of forwards. From a standpoint of guards, BRIA Hartley is intriguing. She's been getting more usage than Skylar Diggins and Diana Taurasi. And I think that she's very relevant to play, especially at $8,200. She has taken over 10 shots in both games. Had a bad game her first game, 2 for 11, still scored 27.25 fantasy points. she just does everything. She's really active. She's playing lots of minutes. Bria Hartley is, I think, out of all the guards in this game, she's my most intriguing. Skylar Diggins-Smith is she's kind of a streaky shooter type at times. She's going to get hot and she's going to blow up this salary that she's at. She's $7,900. She's a better player than that. And Phoenix is kind of lost. So when they find themselves, Skylar Diggins is going to blow that up one of these days. From the standpoint of DraftKings, that's about all I got there. Let's go over to the FanDuel side of things. Let's go over to FanDuel, where I can get into my favorite plays over here. Sabrina Ionescu at $6,600 versus Atlanta. That's a bit too cheap. That's way too cheap. She's going to be able to rack up rebounds. She's going to be able to penetrate. She's going to be able to do a lot of great things. I was really big into Kennedy Carter, but with Courtney Williams back, I wonder how much of the usage Courtney Williams takes up there. It might not be as significant. Courtney Williams is a real hustle player. She might not end up taking too much away from Kennedy Carter. But I like Kennedy Carter against his team for everything she does. I like her. BRIA Hartley is a player that I think can do really great things. I was just discussing her on DraftKings. Her price is as good or better on FanDuel at $5,800. That's a damn good price for everything that she's doing, averaging 33.79 fantasy points per game, up against this fast-paced Las Vegas team. BRIA Hartley is an excellent play. Kelsey Mitchell versus Dallas is an excellent play. Tiffany Mitchell, who is a little cheaper, is an even better play. So I like Kelsey and Tiffany Mitchell here. Erica Willard still out. Are there any significant values that I'm liking? If KIAH Nurse is going to possibly play, 5,200 is a decent. That's a decent price for KIAH Nurse. She could blow that up. She could. Don't know if she would. Would she be over? Because first game it was Clarendon Nurse and Lanisha Clarendon Nurse, Ionescu sharing the backcourt. So she could blow that up. I wonder, let me look her over here on DraftKings. I neglected to look at Nurse's price over here. $5,000. So they priced her up here because she could play. That's an excellent price for her over on DraftKings. She could easily be valued there. MORIAH Jefferson is probably the best value guard that I can think of here on the slate. A lot of the value has kind of been taken out. Shekinah Strickland, I don't know how Courtney Williams' return will affect her. Blake Dietrich is the same story. I think Shekinah Strickland is probably, her minutes are more secure, or her usage is more secure on the second unit. So her at 4,100, she's also an excellent value guard. Those are the best value guards that I can think of. Let me go over to MORIAH Jefferson is an excellent play at $4,600. Let me go over to the forwards. We got Cotry and Wilson are very expensive. I really like Monique Billings here against New York. Their front court is boo trash. I mean, they've been playing well. Odom's got good size. Shook. They've been playing really well. I thought they was gonna get the show, but Tierra McCallum, she is on paper at least what seems the sexiest play in this price range. She could score 40 or 50, especially against this Dallas front court. Satu Sabali, she's scoring 27 fantasy points per game and still $5,100. That's ridiculous. It doesn't make too much sense at all. KIAH Stokes is relevant at $5,000. Brianna Turner is a little relevant. Past that, not too much. I'm feeling at the forward position. I guess Elizabeth Williams. She is pretty expensive though. But if I'm going up that high, I want Angel McCoughtry, I want Aisha Wilson, or a GRINER, or something like that. You know, I'm going above $6,500. Yeah, those are my favorite plays on FanDuel, DraftKings. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Head over to NegroJitsu.com to keep up with all my fantasy products. I'll catch you guys later.